Hi guys, my name's Chris Marque Flores and today I want to go through 6 steps that will give you unbelievable clarity and focus to help you escape a body you feel trapped in, and also to help you understand why you're finding it so hard to escape a body that you feel trapped in. And can be people who needs to lose 1 stone, 2 stone or more, and you've been on nutrition plans and diet plans and weight loss programs. You might have lost weight on these weight loss programs, but by the end of it, you end up putting it back on, or you're heavier than when you first started. So I'm going to go into depth. This is going to be quite an in-depth video, so do take some time. Get rid of all distractions around you. Get yourself a pen and paper, because it's going to be some valuable notes that you're going to be able to take away. This is no high production video, but it is great value. I do this with all my clients when I bring them on, when they're new, and make sure they understand this before we continue, because if they can understand this, then it's easier for them to see the tunnel at the end, but also when they hit certain barriers, they know they're about to hit it and they know what they need to do, or understand why they're hitting these barriers, for them to help penetrate through bits of their weight loss journey or body that they feel like they can't escape, and what they need to do. So I'm just going to pause this, going to wipe off, or let me go through it first. The first thing I want to talk about is I'm going to ask you 3 questions to help you stay focused within this video. The second thing, there's a weight loss pattern. You know, people go through a weight loss pattern and sometimes they stand on a scale and they're heavier than what they want to be, which disheartens us, but are actually winning, and they're winning in certain ways, which I'll go into more depth. The next thing is number 3 is a threshold. So you have a weight loss threshold. So some people get to a certain weight and then it always end up going backwards, and why that happens. The 4th is learning to change your lifestyle, not just your diet, and the importance of changing your lifestyle. 5th, how to stay dedicated when on a nutrition plan or a weight loss plan to continue once it's finished. And 6th, small focus equals small wins. So you need to have a big focus to have lots of little wins, which accumulates to big wins, and you could probably call it compound interest with your body, if you want to call it that way. So I'm just going to pause the video, I'm going to wipe off, and I'm going to go into the first section, which is going to ask you 3 questions. So I've got some lovely 3 questions to ask you. These questions, normally I ask probably a bit more in depth, probably about 20 questions, but I can get you to do this yourself, and I've got people to do this themselves just with these 3 questions. So what I want you to do is, once I've read the questions out, I'm going to tell you to pause the video. So listen to me about all the questions, because I'm going to tell you about the questions within the questions. And then when you pause the video, I want you to, on your piece of paper and pen, write down the answers. I want you to take your time to write down the answers, and I want to take your time to think about the answers. So the first question is, why do you want to lose weight, and how important is it to you on a scale of 1 to 10? So 1 being not very and 10 being the most important thing to you right now. And the reason why I put on the scale of 1 to why is important, when you get that number 1 to 10, it might be a 5, it might be 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10. If it's not a 10, I then want you to ask yourself a question, why is it that number? So if it's a 7, why is it a 7, and what's more important in your life right now, that more important than you getting out the body that you want to escape? Once you figured out that number, I then want you to go back to the first bit, is why do you want to lose weight? Because normally there's an underlying issue, and when you ask yourself this question, I want you to get rid of everyone that's in your life that has any sort of influence in your life. So it could be a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, close family relative, or a very good friend. And I want you to do this for yourself. Like, why do you want to lose weight? Not why does your partner want you to lose the weight, nor why does your friend want you to lose weight, but why do you? And normally it could be something different for different people. It could be a confidence issue, it could be a sexual attraction issue, it could be ability issue, you have no ability, but it's your why. So go ahead now, pause the video, and really take your time to go through them questions and write it down. Question number 2. How many plans have you been on, and why are they not working? So they may have worked, but you may have put the weight back on. So if they worked, why are you putting the weight back on? Or when you go on the plans, why they're not working? And normally there's 3 different answers. One of the answers could be you have a poor instructor who's telling you something that they probably don't actually know and have got very little experience in it, or they've been taught by someone else, so they think it's right, but they're not sure themselves, which is very common. The second one is a medical issue, which is very rare. That's really, really rare. That's only a very small percentage of people that could go on a nutrition plan, and that nutrition plan will not work because of their medical condition. The third one, which is the most common one, is because you don't stick to it, or when you finish it, you go back to your original lifestyle, which I'll talk about. So take your time, go through that. How many plans you've been on, and why they're not working, or why do you keep going back to the position you don't want to be in? The last question: what happens if you don't change now, or if you don't change the way you are a year from now? And the reason why I asked that, and I'm going to be completely honest, if it upsets you that you know, it saddens you to think that you're going to be in the same position now as you are in a year's time, hopefully it helps tick something in your brain to think, I need to get focused and I need to change that number, if it's not a 10, closer to a 10, which becomes the most important thing to you right now to change. Because when you do change, because it's possible for absolutely everyone to change, it's the greatest thing in the world. So just take your time to go through them questions. I'm once again going to pause the video, and then we're going to go on to the number 2, which is the weight loss pattern and understanding the weight loss pattern. Right, so I'm back. So I've got a lovely little diagram that I'm going to talk you through in a second. But there's a weight loss pattern that people need to realise. And a lot of people don't realise because they focus so much on trying to get their scale numbers down. And every time the scale number goes up, they get disheartened and they feel like they're not winning. But they actually probably are winning. And especially there's weight loss companies that only focus purely on trying to get the scale numbers down, which for some people they need to do. However, you've got to understand that it will fluctuate, and it doesn't matter if it fluctuates, because if you're doing the right thing, it should fluctuate. So when you understand this fluctuation, and you might put a bit of weight on, but you understand the other numbers, metric numbers, then you're going to feel just as happy, and you should be just as happy. So there's 2 things that people need to focus on. The first one, or they do focus, the weight. The second one is the inches that you are trying to lose, which is more important. So what happens when people focus on your weight only is, say they do a nutrition plan, a weight loss plan, and they're a size 18, they're 18 stone, and which is 252 pounds. So they do this nutrition plan, and in a month's time they lose 1 stone or 14 pounds. But then if they continue to do it right and they're doing the right thing, what tends to happen is they put like a bit of weight on, and it could be a couple of pounds or even a quarter of a stone, which is 4, 8, 12, 4 pounds, and that'd be within 2 weeks later, and then another 4 weeks go by, and they lose another stone. 2 weeks go by, they put on a quarter of a stone, which is 4 pounds, and then they lose another stone, and it comes to a point where it's really going to slow down. So it might take 2 months to lose some weight, and you might even put on a lot more weight even if you are winning, which is going to dishearten you. But then there will also come a point where you get down so low that if you're doing the right things, you're just going to continue to put on weight, but you're winning. And this is what I mean. So the red line indicates the weight. So the red line, you lose a bit of weight, you put a bit of weight on. You lose a bit of weight, you put a bit of weight on. You lose a bit of weight, you put a bit of weight on. However, the green line indicates the inches and your size. So let's just keep it simple, and say someone's a size 18. If they do everything right within the first month, they can quite easily lose a dress size or even 2 dress sizes. So they lose 2 dress sizes and they've lost a stone. If they continue to do things right, they may put on quarter of a stone, but they'll continue to lose the inches, and the inches will still decrease, but they put weight on. They do things right, keep going 4 weeks later, they lose another stone. The inches keep going down, lose another dress size. They do everything right, put muscle on, which is, this is what I'm talking about, where the weight is going up. The weight will go up 2 weeks later, but the inches continue to go down on their waist, their arms, their legs, or wherever it may be. They continue to do things right. They lose weight. They continue to lose inches. They put on weight. They continue to lose inches. They lose weight. They continue to lose inches. And then it gets to a point where they'll stop losing weight because they're at the bottom where they don't need to lose any more weight, and they've got a lot of fat off their body, so they're concentrating to put muscle on their body. And when they put muscle on their body, their weight's probably going to go up, and it might even go up a stone because they might put on a stone of muscle, but the inches will still go down. Now this is the most important scale to look at, is the inches scale. If the inches scales go up, then that's where it could be a problem, and that's where you need to think something's not working. But if your weight is going up and your inches are going down, the likelihood of it is that you're losing fat and you're creating muscle, and muscle's more dense than fat. Therefore, that's why you look better, but you might be heavier than you think you are. So that's really important, and it's really important for you to understand. So when you ever go to these weight loss programs and they don't explain things like this to you, and you get disheartened that you're putting on weight, but you've done everything right, you've read all the food they told you to, you've done exercise if they have told you, and if they haven't told you to do exercise when you're trying to lose weight, find someone else, because it's incredibly important to have exercise whilst the nutrition. They're just like peas in a pod. Why do one without the other? They complement each other. So if you're doing everything right and you're not losing weight, and it disheartens you, but you might still be winning, look at that scale. So I hope that understands, and that's very important. So the next thing I'm going to go on to is the threshold. So once again, I'm going to pause the video. You can write this down if you want to pause it. There you go. Pause, ding, and have an understanding of it. Right, so this is really important. Everyone has a weight threshold where they're comfortable within the weight. The body's a comfortable position. And anytime you go past this position, over or under, your body will do everything it can to get back. And however, people have different thresholds, so it's different for different people. And what I'm going to use just picking numbers out of the air. So say we've got someone who's 18 stone, they've got a 40% body fat content in them, and they're size 18 or a size 40 waist if you're male. Now, even though I just talked about, the numbers of the weight might go up and you might still be winning. So, but your body is used to a certain weight, your body's used to a certain percentage, body fat percentage, and your body's going to be used to a certain size. And what happens when anyone goes onto a weight loss journey, so say they're starting here, this is where they start, and when they start losing weight, they get pumped, they get into it, they're motivated to do it, they understand they're going to have to cut out certain things for a period of time and do exercise more than they're used to. And what tends to happen is they'll get wins, and they'll get quite good wins, quite quick wins. And say like within a month or so, or 2 months or so they'll lose a stone. And as soon as it hits a barrier, the threshold barrier, and you've gone past the weight that you've been used to, and you've probably been this weight for some period of time, your body, what happens when it hits this threshold and it hits down to a point where it's not comfortable and it wants to get back here, it tries everything it can to get back to this certain weight. So your body tries to forces you to get back to where it's used to. And the way it does it, it plays tricks on you. So everything around you, every kind of food that you used to eat or you used to eat more of, will look 10 times more delicious than it used to. Your mind will start playing tricks on you by saying, why are you doing this? Is it worth doing it? When you've got to do some fitness, be like, it'll try and put it off. You might not be losing weight quick enough, so or you're not losing the size quick enough, so your mind's playing you and say, it's not working, let's just do it another time. And anytime you've got something coming up, so you might have a birthday, you might have a wedding, you might have some sort of celebration, or there might be something bad in your life, so your mind's going to be playing, let's just put that to a side and just enjoy yourself. You need to enjoy life. You don't need to have a miserable life. And it does absolutely everything it can to try and force you to get back to here. And then when you're at this stage, you've got to realise that. And when you start getting demotivated and you're not driven enough to continue to go through, this is you're hitting the threshold. And you've just got to find the willpower inside you, and you've got to train your willpower to understand that you're at this position. And there's a few little things that you can do, like do a mindset challenge. Like I have a mindset challenge, and there's 3 things you go through. One is the goals, set your goals, go through your goals, why you're doing what you're doing. The second thing is your vision, creating your vision and completely mapping out your vision to why you're doing what you're doing, and the barriers that are in the way. And by going through these 3 elements, these mindset elements, it helps get you back on a horse and understand why you're doing what you're doing, and gives you the motivation to push through. But you're still going to have the temptations in your mind to try and push you back up there. So when you're at this position, you can train it, and you just got trying to surpass it. And what I call is a moment of weakness, and having a moment of weakness and get past this moment of weakness and just amplify everything you're doing. So just add a little bit more exercise in. You don't need to be more strict on your diet. Don't restrict your diet, but just really be conscious of what you're doing and why you're doing it, and then you can penetrate through. However, what happens and then you see results because you do well, you stick to it, and then you lose a bit more or you drop more dress sizes. So you go past the threshold, right? But when you go past the threshold, what it does it again. So it will come to a point that it hits another threshold, and all the thing that's happened before happens again. So you have to go through that cycle. So it sucks, and then it sucks again, and then you can penetrate through, and then it happens again, and you can go through it again and again. But what happens every time you train your mind to go past it, it becomes easier. It'll go easier and easier and easier, and you understand. But this also happens if you go above. So if you go heavier, this is when you have days when you don't feel hungry and you can eat nothing all day and you feel absolutely fine, because you're going past your threshold where your body's used to, so you can kind of relax and chill and relax, and your body will drop down to where it's normally at. However, it's easier to penetrate up here than it is to penetrate down here, because when you're up here and you're not really hungry, people might have bad habits where they enjoy having sweet stuff at the end of the night, or having a glass of wine at the end of the night. So even if you're not hungry and you don't feel like it, it's quite easy to pig out on snacks and treats and alcohol, which will quite easily push you up here past this threshold. But what happens then is even worse. This threshold here, it wipes out, and then your new threshold is up here. So now you're 19 stone. And if you want to go back down, you just raised that threshold. So the threshold is even higher now, and it comes back down. So it's easier to go up, it's so much harder to go down. But I hope you understand that, and you could probably relate to that, and it probably happens quite a lot. You hit a certain weight, or you drop a certain amount of weight, and you always end up going backwards. It's because that is the threshold of your life, and it's just a continuous cycle. So understand where it is, and when you hit that threshold, realise it's your threshold, and understand you've got to penetrate through it and reset your body. And it can take time. It might take 1 month, 2 months. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but you just have to persist. And if you persist, you can look back and feel great for doing so. So the next one is about changing your lifestyle, not just your diet. This is really powerful, and you're going to like this one. Right, so I've got a lovely little complex diagram, which is not going to be so complex when I go through it. Okay, so what tends to happen is people try and live their lifestyle and try and escape their body. And then when they live their original lifestyle, they can never really understand why they're not escaping the body they do not feel happy in. And I've got some lovely little pictures. I know I'm not the greatest of artists, but hopefully you understand. This is representing how sad you are, and this is where you want to be. And all people have got to do is go from the unhappy person they are, do a proven route, a proven method, and a proven program that helps, works for people. Just follow, which I like to call impossible to possible, because you're going from an impossible position to a possible position. But what happens is when people do a nutrition plan or a diet plan or a weight loss plan, they go through the journey, and when they go through the journey, they still implement the bad habits and the things that always make them go back. Now, it's different for different people because different people have different bad habits, but some of the most common ones, which I will go through now, which you'll help and hopefully you'll relate to, which are bad snacks, like late night snacking, or doesn't actually have to be late night snacking, chocolate, cookies, crisps, popcorn, or popcorn you can actually implement, but let's just say sweetie, salty or sweetie popcorn, any sort of bad snacks you can think of, processed food, anything that has or doesn't have an expiry date or doesn't expire for a long period of time, has probably very little nutrition values into it. And then you've got alcohol. Alcohol, if the devil could have one tool to make sure people keep their weight on and make sure they never escape, is alcohol. And the last one is holidays, and let me go through them. Oh, there was another one. No exercise. No or little exercise. And what happens, they'll just change one thing. So they change the nutrition, have a good nutrition, don't put any alcohol or exercise in it, have their weekend alcohol, just one or two, and they go for the ones that got little calories and think that's going to be fine, and just have one cookie at night, 2 cookies at night, or 1 bag of crisps a day, which is going to be fine because they've, it's part of their sins or whatever it is. Implement processed food, but the holidays is probably the worst one, and they always end up back to square one. The reason why alcohol is so bad, when you have alcohol, it's the after effects that's so bad. The after effects that it makes you go 4 steps backwards. Every time you don't drink alcohol, you're 1 step ahead. Every time you do drink alcohol, it takes you 4 steps back. There's different reasons for different people. Some people, if your systems are not proficient or in a position where they should be and are not running properly, and you've got bad systems and you are struggling to lose weight, you might be on the verge of insulin resistant, or you might not even have insulin resistance, but you might be on the verge of it, which means anything you do can notify your fat burning hormones and deactivate them or stop them from activating as proficient as they should be. So when you have alcohol, you can have a little bit of alcohol and it can notify these fat burning hormones for up to 72 hours. So it's going to slow down your fat burning hormones process for up to 72 hours just because you had a little bit of alcohol. Now if you had a lot of alcohol, it's going to notify it. It won't. It's like 72 is the capacity, but then if you do a little bit later, it accumulates onto it. So you're really knocking off all your hormones that's going to be able to help your body process in the way it should be, because your hormones have a humongous part to play in this. Like, the best way to understand it, your hormones is like an orchestra, right? And when an orchestra is playing, if one instrument is off, the whole thing is off. It sounds a bit like chaos, but if 2 instruments are off, the whole music will sound chaotic and it won't sound very good, and it sound quite bad. Your hormones are the same. Anything that's not used to or shouldn't have in its body, like alcohol or bad snacks or processed food, it offsets your hormones, and your body goes into chaos mode and trying to get your hormones back into position. And when it goes off in chaos mode, everything else is affected. It has like a knock-on effect. And for a lot of people, it's stopping them from losing weight. Holidays. Why are holidays so bad? Like, I'm not saying don't go on holidays, but if you're trying to lose weight for a long period of time, normally the holidays are things that put you off track. And one of the biggest ones is Christmas. So you could do really well, and you're doing really well, and then Christmas comes along, and when Christmas comes along, you spend that whole month pretty much relaxing and just chillaxing, and you're going to go back to your weight loss journey, eating well, doing well in January. But in that month, you spend a lot of time at Christmas parties, Christmas do's, works do's, family do's, just nights out. You've got Christmas days, which got a bunch of food. You've got Boxing Day, where you have more food, and people have... some people do have alcohol and parties. You have New Year's Eve, which repeats it, and all the little things in between. So you spend a whole month going back to your original lifestyle and amplifying it, and pretty much not losing, but setting your whole mindset off the process. And when you're in that month, you're spending your time enjoying chocolate, enjoying alcohol, so your body's getting the delight, it's releasing endorphins, all these good things that you're putting into your body. So when it comes to January, it's so hard to get back into the seat because your body's been so happy with enjoying that month and just relaxing. Holidays are the same. You go on holidays for a week. If it's not a holiday that's going to improve your health, if it's a holiday that is designed to do more exercise and just do nothing but healthy nutrition and everything that's going to aid your weight loss journey, then by all means go on it. But if it's a holiday where there's going to be alcohol involved, there's going to be food involved, like bad food, and there's going to be lots of laziness around, and there's going to be, you know, an all-inclusive package, it's a very good chance you're going to knock yourself off the saddle, and when you come back, it's going to be quite hard for you to focus, especially if you try to get yourself into a better position for this holiday, because once the holiday is finished, you completely relax because you've got no focus to really continue escaping. So what happens is throughout the whole life, they go through this process and they'll always end up back into the position they didn't enjoy because they're trying to change their body but continue to live this lifestyle. So what you need to do, you need to flip it. You need to flip it to the position so you completely change your lifestyle, so then you can enjoy certain things like this. And the things that you need to do, if you put these things into your lifestyle, it becomes very hard to be here. And it's quite easy to stay happy and healthy. And when you change your lifestyle, you can enjoy these things like a night out, holidays, processed food, and bad snacks, because it's always nice to have a pizza every now and then. But by having a lot more of these, it's easier to enjoy these. And what I mean, I'll go through it. So the first one, the biggest one, is exercise. And that's daily exercise. So I encourage people to do exercise every single day. You know, and I don't mean an exercise session has to be a completely sweaty, you know, you're pushing your limits and boundaries. An exercise session could be 1 hour walking, just a nice steady stroll, 1 hour swimming, nice steady swim, you know, and you need to progress to levels. I break this down into 4 levels. So if you've not done exercise for a long period of time, or you've never done exercise, you need to start in level 1. Level 1 is just walking, just trying to get yourself to walk for an hour. And once you're able to walk for an hour or swim or cycle for an hour, then you move to level 2, which 3 days a week, you increase your heart rate. And you try and increase your heart rate for 1 hour. But it takes you in stages. You might only be able to do it for 10 minutes. And then when you can do level 2, you go to level 3, which is then you start feeling a session 3 times a week. Which when you go to a session, I'm scaring you now, when you go to a session, you know it's going to be a tough session, but by doing a tough session, your body's going to be able to change, and also you implement strength and conditioning, which helps you build muscle to your body. And the last exercise, level 4, is finding something you love, something you can enjoy doing that doesn't feel like a chore, and it doesn't feel like something you have to do, but it feels like something you enjoy and you cannot wait for the next week or the next session because you enjoy it that much. And when you do that, it's easy to exercise, and it's easy to exercise every day. So you have 3 sessions a week, which will keep your heart rate up, push your bodies to your limits, you work your way towards it. And then 4 days, you can do more than 3 days, but at least 2 days, just nice relaxing walking. And it's something you should do every single day. The next one is good nutrition. Just drop my pen. So good nutrition, daily nutrition. So the majority of the day, a good 80% of it is good, healthy nutrition that's going to fill your nutrition levels up, that your body's going to be able to use the nutrition to help your systems run properly. It's bad reducing your nutrition, so you're having no nutrition, that's no good. You want to have your nutrition levels filled with the right nutrition, and by doing that, your systems run properly, and it helps you shred fat whilst you're exercising. If you do it daily, it's hard to be in a position you don't want to be in. The next thing is a level of sleep. So depending on what you do and who you are, I'm quite comfortable have between 6 to 7 hours sleep. If I had 8 hours sleep, it'd probably be better, but I do function very well on 6 to 7 hours sleep. But it's recommended to have between 6 to 8 hours sleep every single night. And by doing so, it helps the chemicals in your body. it helps you perform better in the next day. So if you don't have much sleep and you're trying to do an exercise session the following day, you won't do as well as if you are to have a good solid 6 to 8 hours sleep. Athletes, Olympic athletes, they're encouraged to have 10 hours sleep a night, but that's because they put so much stress on their body. So sleep helps you recover, it helps your body repair, so it's very important. And give it a go. Have no sleep, try and do some exercise. Have a good night's sleep. But you can't do it one after the other, because if you have no sleep, it lasts for a couple of days. You feel tired for a couple of days, so you need a good night's sleep. And if you struggle to have a good night's sleep, if you do all of this, I promise you, your sleep's going to get better. If you exercise daily, you eat well, and you have a good sleeping pattern, so you go to bed on a specific time. If you go to bed at a specific time, your body gets used to you going to bed at that time, and it's quite easy to go to sleep. So normally 9 times out of 10, I'll go to the pillow, and as soon as I hit the pillow, I'm completely gone, because I'm so used to that time's my bedtime, get to bed, and I wake up around the same time. And I don't even need an alarm clock, and I don't use an alarm clock, because I'm so used to waking up. And at 6 o'clock is when I wake up. Normally I wake up quite a little bit earlier. And the last thing is water. Your body's made of fluid. Water's probably the best fluid you could have in your body, and it is the best fluid. People say you can have too much water, which is true. You can flood yourself with water, but I wouldn't worry about that. I would not worry about drinking too much water. It's quite hard to drink too much water. But what happens when you drink lots and lots of water? It keeps your body system running properly, and it flushes things out your body. So it flushes all the bad stuff, but it also flushes the good stuff. And that's the bad thing of having too much water. But don't worry about that. Averagely 3 litres of water. If you're, I can't remember the actual figures of the people, but some people need a little less depending on your height and your weight, but it's around about 3 litres. I could quite easily have 4 litres every day, and I still feel thirsty because I'm so active, but and my body systems run properly, and probably because I'm training for an Ironman, that I need a lot of water. But having water daily, and it doesn't mean a cup of tea. If you have a cup of tea, because you fill your tea up with a lot of water, that doesn't count. It has to be water on its own. I do encourage you to have green tea and other things on it, but water's first. Lots of water, your first choice if you're thirsty. Sleep, exercise, good nutrition. You do that for a long period of time. Get yourself out the body you do not enjoy into the body that you do enjoy, and when you are at that body, then you can start enjoying some of this. But you're doing this daily and weekly, and that is changing your lifestyle, not just your diet. And I'm going to go on to the final thing, or the next thing, which is how to stay motivated, and what the problems are that a lot of people do, and they can't really understand why they don't change. So give me a second. Right, so how to stay motivated continuously. There's a couple of ways. One of the ways is, the only way people actually change is when they're at a point where it becomes life-threatening. And when it becomes life-threatening, if they do not change, then there's potential harm, long-term harm, to the point where it could be death. Which is quite shame really, because you shouldn't have to get to that position where it's life-threatening for you to change. Another one is by paying. And let me put this out here, I'm not trying to sell something, and I'm not trying to get you to sell something, because I've helped a lot of people over the course of probably 16 years now that I've been having a passion for fitness. I've only been a personal trainer for 6 years, but I helped people when I was in the army. I helped people stay in the army who needed to lose weight. If they didn't lose weight, they was going to get kicked out of the army. And throughout this time, there's so many people that I've helped who haven't paid, and so many people that I've helped who have paid. And all the people that I help who don't pay, do not take advantage, because the only thing I can really think of is because they do not have much to lose if they don't follow through with the program, or follow through with what has been told, because it's been given to them for free. And you might know this, and you might be able to understand this. Anything that's given to you for free, you don't value half as much as if something that you pay for. And it also becomes a line. If you're trying to escape, by putting something down to help you stay focused, is paying for something because you want to get your money's worth. And by paying for something, it will make you that much more motivated to stay, to follow the duration, because you don't want to waste your money. If you only pay a small amount of money, like regularly, that's also a bad thing, because some people pay monthly, and if they pay monthly for a certain weight loss program or whatever, we're not just talking about mine, I'm just talking about anything out there. When it becomes hard, because they haven't paid for the next month, it's quite easy for them just to cancel it. And this is when it hits the threshold again. You hit the threshold, why are they doing it? There's no point in doing it. Another excuse is don't have the money to do so, which people might not have the money to do so. And there are other ways that you can do so, but by putting money and physically paying for something and having a substantial amount of money and paying for months in advance, you will take advantage of what is given to you. And ironically, people get better results for people paying over people who don't pay. And it is really important. And you might think it's a bit crazy, but it works really well. If you want to change, you should know yourself. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks. It's not going to happen probably in 4 weeks. It's going to probably take you a little longer than a couple of months. And if people want to change their lifestyle, they need to, I tell people to put a 12-month period into it. And the reason why it's a 12-month period is because I was in a position where I was completely unfit and I did not enjoy my body. And the British Army put me through a 6 months phase. But in that 6 months phase, I was gated in a camp and I had sergeants on me from the early hours in the morning to the late hours at night, and sometimes all the way through that time. And every single day I was put through my paces, I was put through different challenges. And so it took me 6 months, but it was a 6 months intense. Now I put people through 12 months, and 12 months it helps change their lifestyle. Even if someone pays for, say, like a gastric band, or they pay for liposuction, and they get someone to suck all their fat out within 1 day, they're still going to have to take time to change their habits, change their mindset, get used to the emotions changing, which also takes time. And they need to implement exercise, because if they don't, and they don't change their lifestyle, as soon as that gastric band's out and they continue their original lifestyle, they end up back at square one. So it still takes a process to change, and you need to change your lifestyle. And the best way to do it is by putting something, taking some money out of your pocket, putting it towards something that is going to help you change, and it will help you stay committed. Because as soon as it comes hard, you're like, well, I've already paid for it, so I need to continue. And you continue. If you don't pay, it's like, well, I can just lose it now. I can leave. And honestly, that's from experience of people I've tried changing, and that's also family members, because I find it very hard, as you can imagine, to take money off family members, and I won't, and they don't benefit from it because they're not putting anything to it, so therefore they are not actually losing anything, they're just not gaining what they want to gain. Another thing to this, and it's not about paying, but there's also, anytime I put people through a program, I don't know what I'm going to draw, but anytime I put people through a program, they're always trying to negotiate with me. Can they change this? Can they change that? They go through the program, and sometimes I tell them they've got to do certain things. You know, they have to give up alcohol for a period of time. That's the one thing I ask people to give up. If I can get people to give up alcohol, then they will change. If they don't give up alcohol, they might change slightly, but they always end up going backwards. And one of the things is like, well, can I just have alcohol that's got low calories and just do it like once every other week? And this is the best way of understanding it. If you was to be hired for a job, and that job was going to pay you £100, or let's put it in bigger figures, let's say £1,000 a day, you're going to get paid £1,000 a day, and all you need to do is sit at the desk and watch the screen and let the person know of any sort of notifications from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock at night. And every day you do it, you get paid £1,000. And you can do it for 5 days, and you can do it for 7 days. It's up to you. You're most likely to do it. If you don't do it, you're on a very good wage, and I want to know what your job is. Okay, so this person says to you, okay, I'm going to give you another £1,000. But what I want you to do, every time you come in the morning, I want you to clean the office, which will take you about an hour. And every time when you leave at night, I want you to clean the office, which is going to take you about half an hour. So now your work consists of watching the screen from 9 to 5. But when you come in, from 9 to 10, you're going to clean the office. And from 4:30 PM to 5 o'clock, you're going to clean the office. and now you get £2,000 every single day. You most likely take it. If you don't, I want to know your job. The next thing, they're going to offer you another £1,000. I'm going to give you £1,000 more every single day if you cook my lunch the day before and bring it into me. So out of the hours 9 to 5, you have to go shopping, you have to cook the lunch, and you have to bring it to him. All expenses paid, so you don't have to pay for any of it. But then you get £3,000 every single day. You most likely do it. The last thing is £1,000. I'm going to give you another £1,000 if you monitor my calls in and out of work. So if anyone calls out the hours of 5 and before the hours of 9 a.m, it won't be many. It might be 4 calls a day. I just want you to relay the message to me the next day. I'll give you another £1,000. So therefore, you have £4,000 every single day, and you can do it as many days as you want. You can do it for 5 days, or you can do it for 7 days. So, but then you turn around to the boss and say, "Oh look, I don't want to do the calls on the weekend. Can I just do the other 3?" He's probably going to say, "Yeah, no problem," but you're not going to get the £1,000. So you lose the £1,000. And then you say to him, "Well, I want to do it all, but I don't want to clean the office. Can I just do everything else?" And he's going to put, "Yeah, sure, but you're not going to get the £1,000. And you understand? So there are things in place, and if you do them things, you're going to get £4,000 every single day for the rest of your life, and you can do it as many days as you like. Going through the weight loss journey is the same. There's things that you implement. You need to implement good nutrition, sleep, all the stuff that I told you to go through. Anytime you put anything else into that pot, like alcohol, nutrition, bad nutrition, no exercise, it takes away the £1,000, but it takes away your performance or what you're trying to achieve within your body. Each element counts as £1,000 to your body. So if you're exercising daily, that's going to be £1,000 worth to your body. If you exercise daily every day, you're going to change every day. You will change if you do it right. If you add nutrition, that's another £1,000 to your body. If you do good nutrition every single day, your body's going to change. If you have good sleep, that's another £1,000. If you have good water, that's another £1,000. Anytime you take one of them away, it takes the £1,000 away, and it takes that part away from your body, and therefore you haven't got the allowance to spend, and that's why it's important. So you can't negotiate. You've got to stay focused and understand what it is that's going to help you change. So that's nothing. And the last thing, focus on small things, small win, which I'll just do. Let me just change it and I'll go to the last bit, and I'm hopefully you're enjoying this. Right, the final bit is small focus, small wins. What happens is, if, say this is you, or I'm just going to put numbers out there, you're size 18, or you've got a size 40 waist, depending if you're male or female, or if you're female and you like to wear, or male and like to wear women's clothes, that's great. And I'm happy with that. And you want to get to a size 10, okay? I'm going to use something that a company does. I'm not putting it, I'm all for other people, what they do. If they get people success, amazing, just from what I know. But if you have such a small focus and you only focus on the little things, it's so hard for you to get the big wins that you want to get. And it's so easy to go off track. So for example, if you go from size 18 straight to a size 10, and the only little things that you're focusing on, which is nutrition, and you're focusing on losing £1 to £2 a week, that's so small. That's such a small focus. And you cannot wait, or the people that do things like this, they can't wait to have like a little blowout or rest from this, because it's the only focus. So there's some places that will get you to focus on nutrition, which is great, and you should do so. But they only focus on nutrition. They don't focus on anything else. They may encourage to do exercise, but not much exercise. Their main thing is to focus on nutrition. The second thing is they focus on losing £1 to £2 a week, every week. And again, they're focusing on the wrong thing, which is losing weight. But by doing that, it gets monotonous. My fingers are black because I'm rubbing the board, but it gets monotonous. So all you're doing is focus on losing weight, and you're focused on nutrition. And because nutrition is something that you need to do for the rest of your life, when you do it for such a period of time and it starts slowing down because your weight does start slowing down, or you start going upwards and you're not getting the results, you know, your body's telling you, when you hit the threshold part, your body's telling you, oh, what's the point? I can't be asked to do this. So you have a break from the nutrition and you start open up like a waterfall, shall I say, and you just go nuts and you end up eating loads and loads of nutrition, and you eat like all the bad stuff, and it just really enjoyable. And when you try and go back to just the nutrition that you was taught, it's hard to go back to it because it's so much work and it's the only thing you're focusing on. I know this because I've done it myself. I've done it myself in a different way. I had such a strict diet and had a good exercise, and all I was focused on was the exercise and the diet, trying to get my body in good shape, which I was able to do so. And I got myself body in a good shape, but as soon as I finished the diet, as soon as I went on to the bad food, it was so delicious. I stayed on the bad food for quite a period of time, and mentally, it was so mentally hard to go back to the other side because I started losing my body shape. It felt near on impossible, and then it kind of you have to shift your focus. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to map out how I get people to focus on the bigger picture, not the smaller picture. And by focusing on the bigger picture, it completely shifts your focus and it helps you get small little wins along the way. So give me a second. As you can see, it is so much different now. There's so much at the moment to show you and talk you through how it helps you when you shift your mindset and you focus on the bigger picture, and you're completely shifting it, and you kind of don't focus on this, because remember, we're trying to get someone from a size 18 or 40 to a size 10. And what I do, I'm going to talk about the methods that I use and what works really well. So if anyone comes to me and they're a size 18 and they've been a size 18 for some time, then I tell them this is going to be 12 months. We're going to take 12 months to go through this process. And by the end of 12 months, if you do everything right, you're going to change. And you might not be at a size 10, you probably will be. But if you're not at a size 10, your mindset's going to be in a position where you can just carry on and you'll know you're going to get to that size 10 position. So what I do is I break it down 12 months because it's quite a lot and it's quite daunting to think 12 months time. And I break it down into 8 missions. And each mission's 6 weeks long. And in each mission, there's 5 different things. There's a mindset element, there's a challenge element, there's an exercise nutrition, which go together element, there's a planning process, and there's a preparation process. And if I go through it, so the first stage is I take through a mindset challenge, because people don't realise how powerful it is to get yourself into the right shape of mind or state of mind. If you don't get the right state of mind, it's so easy to veer off track. And I can give you a quick example. Someone would say on a Friday, you know, I'm going to lose weight starting next Monday. When it comes to a Monday, you know, they just thought in their head they're going to lose weight. So they haven't really planned out or done anything. And they try and eat well. So they might eat something healthy like porridge or eggs or something along them lines. Later on in the day, they might have a healthy lunch. They might do a little bit of exercise, go for a walk or something. When it comes to the night time, they've got nothing planned. And therefore they've got nothing cooked and they don't actually know what they're going to do. They haven't got no preparation of food in the house. So therefore they'll think, well, I've done really well in the morning, I've done really well in the evening, you know, I'm going to ease myself into it, I'm going to treat myself with a pizza or a glass of wine or something of the likes of. Or they might even stay well for a few days, but because they've not planned it properly, they end up veering off track. There are some people who have got amazing willpower and will stick to it, but that's only a very small percentage. So what I do, you put them through a mindset element, and going through the mindset element and really get them clarity of what they're doing, why they're doing, create the long-term vision, and that there helps set the platform. The next stage is I put a challenge in place. By having a challenge, it helps you stay focused, and after every 6 weeks you do a challenge by the end of it, and the idea is to increase the challenge so it gets harder but you get better. And to start off with, if someone's a size 18, if not exercised, the aim is just to start small. So I would encourage to do something like a 5k obstacle run or 5k run or something along the lines of something that's endurance and something that's going to kind of scare them into position. And if that doesn't scare you, then do a 10k or 15k or something that does fear you. And so to do a 5k obstacle course or challenge, you have to have an element of fitness in there, and you have to have an element of nutrition, because if you don't, that challenge is going to be very hard to do, and you're going to suffer like a lot. And people realise that after they do the first challenge. So I put the exercise and nutrition both into levels. So there's level 1 to level 4, and it takes time. It takes time to go through the levels. If you try and go to the hardest level of nutrition and hardest level of exercising, mentally it's too hard, and you won't continue. So you break it down into 4 levels. So level 1 nutrition, level 2. I put level 2 there, but it's actually level 1. The next step, you put a planning process in place. Important to have a plan. Great saying in the army. Plan and preparation prevents piss poor performance, and it's true. You might not always stick to a plan, but if you've got a plan in place, it's easier to stay focused, and if you go off, you can put yourself back on track quite quickly. And have a preparation process in place, because if you're not prepared, then you can't follow through. And there's simple little things that people miss, even good health fitness professionals like myself. If I don't prepare in the right way, I do miss out. And then that happens in 6 weeks. You do that in 6 weeks, and then once you hit the 6 weeks, you go to the next stage. So then you go from a 5k and you try go to a 10k, and then once you do a 10k, you try do a triathlon. And to try and do not a triathlon, I just put in different challenges. It's different for different people. Some people like obstacle courses, some people want to do half marathons, some people want to do marathons, and some people don't want to do any of it. But if you do things like this, it will help you more than you can imagine, even if you don't like it. And by the end of it, I can promise you, you will like it, like hand on heart. It happened to me. So it increases. And then when you do the first challenge, you realise how much you need to exercise, and you realise how much you need to put the nutrition in place. So you increase your exercise in, and you increase your nutrition levels. And then you go to the next one, you increase the exercise in, and you increase the nutrition levels. And then you go to the next one, you increase the exercise in, and you increase the nutrition levels. And you continue this process, and you repeat this process until you escape, or until you get yourself to a mindset where you know you won't go backwards. And sometimes it only takes 1 challenge, sometimes it takes 2 challenges, sometimes it takes 3. But the reason why you put 8 in is because it will get you to a point of no return. And what I mean, when you get to that point, you will never be unhealthy again, and it'll be very hard for you to be unhealthy again, because you've finally escaped and you fully realise how the benefits of true health and what health can bring you. So it's very hard to go backwards. And that's why it takes a long period of time. And have you noticed how much I've talked about weight here? I've not talked about weight once. I've completely shifted the focus completely to changing your lifestyle. I don't really care about the weight. The weight, if you do this, the weight will naturally come, and we don't really need to worry about the weight, because if you're trying to train for a triathlon and you're doing the exercise for a triathlon, I can promise you, you're going to strip fat. Guaranteed 100%. If you're running on the road and you're swimming in the sea or in the water and you're cycling on the road weekly, your fat is going to strip. And if you put nutrition on top of it, it's just going to amplify it. So those are the 6 steps that are going to help you stay focused and understand. And hopefully you now understand why you're struggling to lose weight and why you're probably not losing weight. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have enjoyed that, reach out to me, comment below, or send me a message to say what you liked about it. If you couldn't understand it, you do not understand it, you might have to go through it again, and the penny might drop, or just reach out to us. And if you are in a position where you're in a body where you cannot escape, I've created a program that's helped 41 people lose over 100 stone within 6 months, and I'll be happy to help you. And I'm always looking for clients to try and help them escape a body they do not feel happy in. So if that's you, reach out to me or to someone in the team, and we're happy to talk you through the steps of what we would do to help you escape a body you do not feel happy in. My name's Chris. Make sure to like it, comment, and share it to the people who's probably going to enjoy this video just like you did. Have a great day. See you in the next one.